Hello, this is the Ramblings of an Indisciplined Mind podcast for Tuesday, August 16th, 2016. As of this recording, Sierra is still missing. So I saw in the news today a story that I actually thought, oh, that would be cool. And that is they announced that, or I don't know if this is the first announcement, but I saw this one, that they are going to do a new movie in the Ocean's 11 universe, I guess, world. But it's going to be all women. So they're doing the gender swap thing. And they've got Anne Hathaway, and they've got Sandra Bullock, and they've got Rihanna attached to it. A couple other people that I didn't necessarily know. I think they've got 7 out of the 8 cast for that. And I thought that'd be really cool. To do. Yeah, I know there's a lot of consternation about the whole gender swap movie thing, and I'm kind of scared it's going to turn into a gimmick like 3D movies. You know, that the late 20 teens are going to be known for. Oh, that was when they went through the gender swapping craze. You know, I think it's good in places. You know, I thought Ghostbusters was good, although I was kind of sad to see that the overall amount of money that it made wasn't up to what was hoped for, and so now, despite the fact that Sony had previously announced that there were going to be a couple of sequels that might be in jeopardy now, which is too bad. But I think an all-female heist movie like an Ocean's 8 would be fun. There was I do remember, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it was, but there was an all-female heist movie like back in the 80s that I remember seeing. I can't even remember who was in it, but I'm sure some digging would find it. The thing I think would be really cool is if they could get oh darn it, what's her name? Julia Roberts. Get Julia Roberts to join this one and have her play her character from the other 3 Oceans movies. You know, maybe she's involved in it for some reason, you know, to get back at Danny or something, you know. Yeah, I'm not saying we get any of the guys in it, you know, but I think it'd be cool to have her in it in some fashion, playing the character from the other 3 movies. I think that would be really neat. But yeah, I think it's something that they got to be careful with. They got to have the right properties. You know, I would have thought, you know, Ghostbusters I thought was a pretty good choice, and I thought they executed that very, very well. You know, they created some great characters. The difference is I don't know that even though all the women were from SNL, I'm not sure that any of them were as big a name going into it as the main stars of Ghostbusters, or the original Ghostbusters, were going into it. I'm certainly much more aware of Leslie Uggams, I think is her name, after the movie than I was before the movie. And the other you know, ladies I never heard of. I mean, I don't watch a lot of SNL, so I think that is a big difference, and that might have affected the draw in that, you know, there really wasn't a big name to pull you in. It was just, you know, do you want to see the gender swap Ghostbusters or not? So it's going to be interesting to see how this movie is going to be, this Ocean's 8, because they've got, you know, at a minimum 3 big names. The other women could be just as big, and it's just that I was being clueless. But you know, at a minimum, we've got, you know, Anne Hathaway and Sandra Bullock and Rihanna, and so those are 3 really big name female entertainers. So I would think that that's going to help draw you know, people to see that movie. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But I do feel like it's something we got that they have to be careful with, because if they're just doing it for for the sake of, we're going to force equality by just grabbing old movies and gender swapping them. Like there was one that I heard probably a month ago that they're going to do this too, and that's Splash, which was a 1984-ish movie that starred Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks, where Daryl Hannah was this woman that shows up naked at the Statue of Liberty, and she's naked because she's a mermaid. But she ended up on shore for some reason, and so when she's on dry land and when she's dry, she's got legs, and when she gets wet, she's got the big flipper thing. And so Tom Hanks, sees her on TV and instantly falls in love with her, and then he's trying to help protect her, and she's trying to hide the fact that she's half fish from him, and all this stuff. And so it's a rom-com. It was a fun movie. I remember seeing it at the time. I think I saw it a couple times. Probably saw it a couple times because I enjoyed it. I'm less enthralled by the idea of gender swapping that. One of the things that was kind of fun was that Daryl Hannah's character didn't really know how we did things up here on dry land, and so she's trying to hide who she is, but she's also she's also not really understanding how things work and all that. And that was part of what gave the movie its charm, I think. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I'm just not sure that a male actor could pull that off as well. Maybe, I don't know. The other thing, the other problem with gender swapping is it could change the whole tone of a movie. I got thinking just as I was walking out of work and into my car that take Sleepless in Seattle and gender swap that one. Let's say you've got, I'll use the same actors just for Chuck's sake, So say it's Meg Ryan who's lost a spouse and is grieving with a little boy, and she gets on the radio show, and this guy listening to it falls in love with her and ends up tracking her down, and shows up at her house. I mean, you get all with a man kind of being the one that's looking for her. It suddenly gets all creepy stalkerish really dang fast. Just thinking about it, it's just like, I remember there's this one scene where Meg Ryan had, in the original, Meg Ryan had used her, she was a reporter, and she used her contacts to, once she figured out the guy's name, to find his address in Seattle, and she went there, and she's like standing across this busy road where his houseboat was, because I believe they lived in a houseboat, and Tom Hanks comes out, or they just arrive, him and his son, and they're getting the mail, and she's just standing across the street there, too scared to go across the street, and just watching them. It's just like, if you flip that, so it's Meg Ryan and her boy, and the man standing across the street watching her, that's a totally different feel. I think that would be, that would be tough. So the thing I'm scared about it is that I think we're riding a wave of political correctness here a little bit, and that we need to have more of these types of movies for women, and I don't disagree with that, but to take, some things don't necessarily translate well. What we really need is we need to have a bunch of original movies that are like an Ocean's 11, that maybe that are where women are the leading roles. That's what we need to get to. I mean, it's fine to do a gender swap on Ghostbusters, and it's fine to do a gender swap on the Ocean's movies, and I'm actually kind of geeked for Ocean's 8. That sounds like fun. I love a heist movie anyway, and I think it'd be kind of fun and kind of different than your traditional 8 guys get together to rob a bank kind of thing. But I feel like if we wanted to affect some lasting change and not just be one of a long line of movie gimmicks trying to get people into the theaters, it has to be done well, and the property has to be the right property to do it in. There are some properties that I think would not be good, given the examples that I just gave. I'm really leery on the Splash one. We'll see how that does. I can't remember if they've announced if they've cast that or not. I haven't looked. I didn't look in preparation for this, but I don't know. But I think there are some things. I mean, why not do something like the Transporter, action adventure film starring Jason Statham, the first ones at least. Why not do something like that with a woman? That'd be kind of fun. So yeah, I mean, I think there's room to grow there, but I'm concerned by the trend that it's not going to be necessarily handled well, because Hollywood doesn't really know what the hell they're doing. They follow trends. That's what they do, and to them, this is a trend. It's not a way of trying, I don't think, to interject change into their industry. Change may happen, but that isn't necessarily, I don't think, what the goal of the studios is necessarily. But that's all I got for today. I will be back tomorrow. I'll be talking to you then. So, be seeing you.